And just like that, the CDC is out of the game. A little bit of cruise news in the evening. Today is July 18th, 2022, and it's a pretty big night for cruise fans. Stay tuned. So, this evening, a little bit of magic happened. Nobody was really kind of expecting this, but the CDC is officially out of the game in dealing with cruise ships. The CDC decided today, on July 18th, 2022, that we are dropping the COVID-19 protocols for cruise ships. Don't know where it came from. It just showed up on their website. It was an amazing thing to see and to hear. And it's, I don't know. I have some kind of weird feelings about this, right? Because, it was long, it was controversial, how they handled themselves. We can talk about that until we're blue in the face. But this phase of COVID-19 oversight for the cruise industry through the CDC is officially over. So, let's talk a little bit about what this really means. Well, according to the CDC website, I'll read exactly what it says here. It says, as of July 18th, 2022, the CDC COVID-19 program for cruise ship is no longer in effect. The CDC will continue to publish guidance to help cruise ships continue to provide a safer and healthier environment for its passengers, crews, communities, and going forward. For more information, please see the frequently asked questions. So basically, they're just in the guidance game now. They're no longer in any kind of enforcement. So according to the FAQ on the CDC website, it basically says, stuff that we already know. The CDC has worked closely with the cruise industry, the state and territories, to local health authorities, and federal and seaport partners to provide a safer and healthier environment for cruise passengers and crew. Cruise ships have access to this guidance and tools to manage their own COVID-19 mitigation programs now. Additionally, cruise travelers have access to recommendations that will allow them to make an informed decision about cruise ship travel. While cruising poses some risks for COVID-19 transmission, the CDC will continue to publish guidance to help cruise ships continue to provide a safer and healthier environment for crew, passengers, communities going forward. So the guidance that they're going to give is still going to go forward. But that's all it is. It's guidance. The cruise lines will have authority to make their own decisions on how they want to mitigate and handle COVID-19 on their own ships, on their own lines, on a per line basis. So we're going to start seeing kind of a little bit of like the Wild West here. Certain cruise lines are going to do this. Certain cruise lines are going to do that. You're going to have to really be understanding of what cruise line you're going to be traveling on and what are their requirements. There's no more like blanket understanding. So be really, really careful. Understand whatever your cruise lines are going to do going forward. I'm sure things are going to change rapidly. I don't know how rapidly, but I'm pretty sure things will start to change as the cruise lines make their own decisions on how to mitigate COVID-19 within their own line. What is going on with the color coding system? Well, the color coding system on the CDC website that will say if a ship is in orange or yellow or green, that's going away. And the reason why they say that is because the previous color coding system under the CDC COVID-19 program for cruise ships was dependent upon each cruise line having the same COVID-19 screening testing standards, which may now vary among the different cruise lines. So they're saying that this grading system is now kind of unable to be, really comprehensive or really provide any real feeling of understanding because there's going to be such variation now as cruise lines choose what they want to do. The color coding system really is difficult to kind of understand. So the color coding system on the CDC website is going to be gone. You're not going to know if your ship is orange or green or red. What we're going to have to do if we're really curious to know what ship we're going on next and where it is with COVID on previous voyages, we're going to have to either request that information from the cruise line, and if they're going to be willing to give that to us, I'm sure that's going to vary, and who knows how we're going to get that information. But if that's something that's very interesting and something that you really want to know before you go on a cruise, you're going to have to really think long and hard about how you're going to get that information because the CDC is no longer going to provide it for us. And that's basically generally what's going on. The only way we're going to know about outbreaks within the cruise line, we're going to have to contact our lines directly to understand that. And of course, whatever kind of media might surround an outbreak on a cruise line about getting back into port, etc. Now, we do have to understand this is the CDC and this relates to the ports in the United States. Cruise lines and cruise ships are international. They go to more than just ports in the United States. They're going to usually originate out of a port in the United States. So the CDC was vitally important because everything starts and ends in the United States. For Caribbean cruises, Alaska cruises, well, some Alaska cruises don't have to worry about that, right? Because they maybe originate and start and go from a Canadian port, but Canada is different than the United States too. So really understand where you're going, understand what countries you're going to be in, because those things are going to also dictate what the cruise line is going to do. Just because the United States says, no more rules, you kind of handle it yourself. That doesn't mean any port that the cruise line's going to is going to say the same thing. Now, the CDC does have a lot of sway. If the CDC is saying we're pretty happy with the way cruise ships are running right now, who knows what other foreign, ports to hopefully produce more travel revenue might do, because now the CDC is doing this. They might say, you know what, we'll follow suit. We're going to be okay as long as the cruise lines feel that they're okay. I don't know. We'll soon find out. Things are probably going to change really, really fast. I don't know what's going to happen with pre-cruise testing, but that's probably one of the first things that are going to go away, is my guess. I'm not sure when, I'm not sure how, but because of the lack of testing and finding readily available testing that is relatively inexpensive is becoming more and more difficult in the United States. I think the cruise lines are going to try to think about how do we lower that burden, but who knows? We'll see. It's going to be a huge bit of flux coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see what's going to happen. I'm thinking we're going to see relative stability during the summertime as kids and parents and vacation travel for summer is at a high. But once September rolls around and things kind of get into a shoulder season, then we might see things start to change significantly. That's only a guess. That's where I'm feeling that we're probably going to see some stuff, but we will soon find out. Well, again, as I said, I don't do a lot of cruise news, but I only want to do cruise news is that it's vital important for everybody to understand and know what's going on in the cruise industry if they're booking something. This is one of those days today. Today's a big day. CDC is officially out of the cruise game, but they're still going to provide guidance. We'll see what the cruise lines are going to do next. It's going to be a fun next couple of weeks, or the next month and a half or so is what my guess is going to be. So stay tuned as more and more cruise lines decide to change their protocols. If it's a big change, I will let you guys know. That's about it, folks. I hope you have a great evening. And remember, everybody, to always seek the seas. Bye now.